Om Sri Matre Namaha. Let us know the importance and the origin of Lalita Sahasranama Stotram, as these days are Navaratri and auspicious in chanting the name of Lalita, goddess Lalita Devi. Lalita Sahasranama Stotram is taken from the Brahmanda Purana. This stotram or Sahasranama is an indication of 1,000 names of the goddess mother Lalita, and it is a sacred text too, because it has so many hidden facts of nature. And goddess Lalita Devi is considered to be the manifestation of the divine mother Shakti, and therefore this Sahasranama stotra is used in the worship of Durga, Parvati, goddess Kali, goddess Bhagavati, as well, etc. A principal text of Shakti worshippers. It names the goddess's various attributes in the form of names organized in a hymn. This Sahasranama is used in various modes for the worship of the Divine Mother, like the Parayana, the recitations, Archana, Homa, etc. The names are organized as hymns or stotras, but they are often broken into mantras to represent all 1,000 names. Therefore, the Sahasranama that can be chanted in the form of stotra or namavali, etc. This is one of the only Sahasranamas that does not repeat a single name and has exactly 1,000 names, which cannot be found in other Sahasranamas of gods like Vishnu, Shiva, where the total names are either lesser or more than 1,000. But here you find exact 1,000 names without repetition. Generally, Sahasranamas use the artifice of adding words like tu, api, ka, he, which are conjunctions that do not necessarily add to the meaning of the name, except in the cases of interpretation. The Lalita Sahasranama does not use any such auxiliary conjunctions and is unique in being an enumeration of holy names that meets a metrical, poetical, mystic requirements of a Sahasranama by their order throughout the text. Etymologically, Lalita means she who plays. In its root form, the word Lalita means spontaneous. The meaning easy is also derived, and implicitly it extends to play. The exact history says that this Lalita Sahasranama is said to have been composed by the 8 Vagdevis like Vasini, Kameshwari, Aruna, Vimala, Jayini, Modini, Sarveshwari, and Kaulini. Upon the command of the goddess Lalita herself. The Sahasranama says that one can worship Lalita only if she wishes to do so. This stotra occurs in the Brahmanda Purana, the history of the universe, in the chapter of the discussion between sage Hayagriva and sage Agastya. Hayagriva and sage Agastya. Hayagriva is an incarnation of Vishnu with the head of a horse and held to be the storehouse of knowledge. Agastya is one of the sages of yore and one of the stars of the constellation of Saptarshi. At the request of Agastya, Hayagriva is said to have taught him the 1,000 holiest names of Lalita. The temple at Tirumayachur near Kumbakonam is said to be where Agastya was initiated into the Sahasranama. An alternative origin is that the Upanishad Brahmanam or Brahmamut Upanishad Brahmamat at Kanchipuram is where this initiation happened. The key concepts of Lalita Sahasranama are Dhyana. The start of the Lalita Sahasranama is characterized by the Dhyana, which are descriptive verses like visualization. There are 4 Dhyana verses. It describes the yogi, the person reciting the Sahasranama, as meditating upon the form of Lalita and describes the many qualities of the goddess. The Dhyana is said to be before chanting the 1,000 names. The first verse starts with Sindhura Runavar Vigraham and is the most likely is the verse composed by the eight Vagdevis. The second verse beginning with Arunam Karuna Taranga Dakshim is said to have been composed by Dattatreya. The fourth beginning with Sukunkuma Vilepanam was probably composed by Adi Shankaracharya. No known information is available on the origins of the third verse that begins with Jayet Padmasanastham. In all the jhana verses, there is a recurring theme on Devi's red complexion, which is said to resemble the sun at dawn and her compassionate nature. The Lalita Sahasranama is organized in such a way that Devi is described from head to toe, Kesadipadam. The names then go to extol Devi in all her achievements, powers, and forms. The physical description goes into the great detail describing the physical aspect of the goddess. The beginning of the Sahasranama describes Lalita in her female form, Kameshwari, along with her consort Kameshwara. Kameshwari is described as extremely beautiful, having dark, thick, long hair adorned with Champaka, Ashoka, Punnaga, and Saugandhaga flowers, having a musk tilak on her forehead and having eyebrows which appear as if they are gates of Kamadeva's abode. The next few mantras continue describing Lalita Devi as the ideal feminine form whose splendor is unmatched by any other celestial. With cheeks that shine like a mirror of Padvaraga, having beautiful white teeth resembling the Shodasakshari mantra, and having a voice sweeter than the sound emanating from Kachapi, the veena of Saraswati. The last mantra describing Devi's physical appearance is the 46th name, Sinjanamani Manjira Mandita Sri Padambuja, whose feet are adorned with musical anklets filled with gemstones. And the concept of Kameshwara and Kameshwari. The next few names that continue to focus on the union between Lalita as Kameshwari and Kameshwara. Devi is described as having a beautiful smile, beautiful breasts, and perfect thighs which steal the heart of the Kameshwara. She wears a Mangal Sutra and necklaces with succeeding names describing the lower half of Devi's body to her feet. This divine couple continues to stay united throughout the Sahasranama. The penultimate name is Shivasakteka Swarupini, who is the unification of Shiva and Shakti. As per the Hindu philosophy, it is understood that there is nothing beyond the union of Shiva and Shakti, or the absolute form, except the true goddess Lalita herself. That is why the last name of the Sahasranama is Lalitambika, effectively showing that Devi's form as Lalitambika is the most absolute form. The origins say like this: at the behest of the name 57, the divine city Srinagara is described in all its splendor. The origins of the city can be traced to two different texts. One is in Durvasa's Lalita's Tavartana, saying that Srinagara was constructed by celestial architect Vishwakarma. The other, in the Rudra Yamala, as told to Parvati by Shiva, says that Srinagara is in the midst of an ocean of milk as an island called Ratnadvipa, island formed out of precious gems. This description fits name 61, Sudhasagara Madhyastha, which describes Devi as residing in the middle of the ocean of nectar. Srinagara is surrounded by 25 walls. Each wall is representing Tattva. Srinagara has 25 streets circling it, made of elements, gems, and precious stones. In the 8th street is a forest of Kadambas, presided by Mantrini. On the 15th street resides the 8th directional guardian deities. In the 16th resides a Varahi or Varahi, alias Dandini, who was Lalita's commander in chief in a battle with Bhandasura. In the 17th street resides the different yoginis. In the 18th street resides Mahavishnu. In the 19th street resides Isana. In the 20th resides Tara Devi. In 21st resides Varuni. In the 22nd, Kurukulla, who presides over the fort of Pride. In 23rd resides Marthanda Bhairava. In 24th resides the moon. And in the 25th resides Manmadha, presiding over the forest of love. In the center of Srinagar is the, the Mahapadmathavi, the forest of great lotuses, and within it Chintamani Griha, a palace constructed out of Chintamani, the wish fulfilling gem. The palace is said to be on the northern side of Srinagar. To its northeast is the Chidagnikunda, and on both sides of its eastern gate are the houses of Mantrini and Dandini. On its four gates stand the Chaduramanya gods for watch and ward. The Sri Chakra and Lalita herself are said to reside within the Chintamani Griha. The chakra is said to be made of following components, all represented in its decorative features. The square representing Tailokya Mohanam, Devi as the most beautiful in the three worlds. The 16th petaled lotus called the Sarvasa Paripurakam, Devi as the fulfiller of all desires. The 8th petaled lotus called Sarvasanchopanam as the cleanser. The 16th cornered figure representing Sarva Saubhagyam, luck. The external and 10 cornered figure called the Sarvartha Sadhakam, Sarvartha Sadhakam, Devi as the giver of all the assets. The internal 10 cornered figure called Sarva Rakshakaram, Devi as the protector. The 8th cornered figure called the Sarva Rogaharam, Devi as the cure of all the diseases. The triangle called Sarva Siddhipradam, giver of all powers, as the central dot known as the Sarvanandamayam or the Bindu, Devi as pleasure. In the center of the chakra, on the throne of the Panchabrahmas, on the Bindu Pita, sits Mahatripura Sundari. Now the story of Bandasura. One of the main events extolled in the Lalita Sahasranamam is Devi's battle with the Asura called Bandasura. According to the story, the Devas prayed to Devi to kill Bandasura. As she started for war, the Sahasranama describes her being accompanied by the powers of various Shaktis and Devis whose accomplishments are extolled in different names. Names in the Sahasranama describes Sampatkari Devi as the captain of all the elephant regiment, and Aswarudha Devi as the captain of cavalry. Lalita as Parashakti herself is described as riding in the Sri Chakra chariot, Chakra Raja, the king of chariots. After descriptions of the battle with respects to various Shaktis, Lalita is described as decimating Bandasura's army using the Paushupasastra weapon and destroying him and his city with the Kameshwara weapon or Kameshwarastra weapon. After praises from the Devas, she is said to have then gave or given life back to Manmadha, Kamadeva, for the good of the world. In the Lalita Sahasranama, Devi herself has been described as Panchakrit Parayana. This is in reference to the five works of God: Panchakrityam, creation; Srishti, protection; Shakti, Astiti, destruction; Samharam, hiding; Tirodhanam, and blessing, Anugraham. The mantras presiding name 274 describe Devi in reference to the Trinity. Therefore, Devi is described as an aspect of Brahma while creating Srishti, an aspect of Govinda while sustaining Sthiti, an aspect of Rudra during dissolution, an aspect of Ishvara while concealing, and an aspect of Sadasiva while blessing. These five entities, Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Ishvara, Sadasiva, are known as Panchabrahma and Panchapreta. The goddess is described as Panchabrahma Swarupini, whose form is composed of the five Brahmas, the names of the Sahasranama. Such mantras are interpreted by many Shaktiite scholars to show that Devi's power is at par with, if not superior, to the powers of Trimurti. This idea is furthered by other mantras like Om Panchapreta Manchadi Sainai Namaha, who resides on a couch made of the Pancha corpses. Om Panchapreta Manchadi Sayanai Namaha. This most likely references the concept of five Brahmas as lifeless bodies when Devi performs all the five tasks mentioned previously herself. Then the role of yoginis, the first 60 names from 475 to 534 discuss the seven chakras of Kundalini and Sahasrara. Each chakra is presided over by a deity called a yogini. Lalita herself is described as being present in the form of Kundalini energy, the divine feminine energy at the Mooladhara chakra at the bottom of the spine. Since the Kundalini energy has to be transcend the other chakras to reach the Sahasrara chakra, a representation of Shiva or the divine masculine energy from the Mooladhara chakra, worshipping the respective yoginis of each chakra is the paramount. Each of these yoginis have their own mantras describing their complexion, armories, qualities, and sacred foods within the Lalita Sahasranama as a whole. That is the importance of Lalita Sahasranama. During these days of Navratri, it is advisable to chant these names or the auspicious names of Goddess Lalita. Om Etat Sarvam Sri Krishnaarpanamstu.